There's a moment that comes quietly, without warning. You're sitting at your desk, scrolling past another video of someone announcing they quit their 9 to 5 and built a life of freedom. You sigh. A part of you wants to believe it's real. Another part rolls its eyes. Because your life isn't bad. You've got enough money, enough energy to make it through the week, enough motivation to get up, work, and sleep. But that word, enough, is haunting. Deep down, something whispers, you're made for more. That whisper is where this story begins. This isn't just about building a business, this is about breaking a mindset, the average mindset, and rewriting the narrative you've been handed. I remember the exact moment it hit me. I was riding the subway home, surrounded by a sea of blank faces. Everyone was staring at their phones, earbuds in, lost in their own world. I caught my reflection in the window. I didn't look unhappy, just numb. That scared me more than sadness ever could. That's when I knew I couldn't live like this anymore. The illusion of average. Let's start with a painful truth. Most people are trapped in a story they didn't write. From childhood, we're given scripts. Go to school, get good grades, find a stable job, play it safe, don't dream too big, and we follow them, not because they're right, but because they're familiar. Society teaches us that average is normal, even honorable. Be responsible, be realistic, be grateful for what you have. But here's the thing, average isn't a benchmark, it's a warning sign. The mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. Henry David Thoreau. That quote is over 150 years old, yet it feels like it was written for today. You know people who wake up tired, drive to jobs they hate, watch the clock, come home drained, distract themselves with TV, and repeat the cycle. They're not living, they're coping. And the scariest part? Many don't even realize it. Let me tell you about Adam, a guy I met at a networking event. Early 30s, solid corporate job, great benefits. From the outside, he was doing well. But when we grabbed coffee, he confessed, "I don't feel alive anymore. I'm paid well to play small. A part of me dies a little every day." Adam isn't alone. In fact, he's the rule, not the exception. What separates those who break free? It starts with one radical idea. You weren't born to be average. There's a big difference between existing and living, between clocking in and showing up with purpose, between being tired from stress and being tired from passion. The illusion of average is that it's safe, but the truth is, it's the riskiest place to stay. Because time passes, dreams die, and comfort becomes a cage. If you're watching this and you feel stuck, this is your call to rise. Mindset before money. Most people think entrepreneurship is about money. It's not. Entrepreneurship is about thinking differently. Money is just the scoreboard. The shift happens the moment you stop asking, "How can I survive?" and start asking, "How can I serve, create, grow, and lead?" This is why mindset comes first. You can give two people the same opportunity. One sees a burden, the other sees a blessing. One complains about the work, the other embraces the grind. In 2008, during the global financial crisis, two guys in San Francisco couldn't afford rent. They saw hotels were expensive during big tech conferences, so they bought air mattresses, built a basic site, and offered a place to sleep. Airbed and breakfast was born. Today we know it as Airbnb. What separated them from thousands of others who lost jobs and panicked? Mindset. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Henry Ford. Mindset shapes what you see, what you risk, and what you build. Entrepreneurs don't wait for permission. They move despite fear. I once worked with a client who was terrified to launch her coaching business. She had certifications, experience, and talent, but fear kept her stuck. We focused on rewiring her mindset, shifting from "what if I fail" to "what if I fly?" Within 6 months, she had her first 5-figure month. That's the power of mindset. The identity shift. This is where everything changes. If mindset is the engine, identity is the fuel. Before you can act like a successful entrepreneur, you have to see yourself as one. Identity isn't who you are, it's who you believe you are. The strongest force in the human personality is the need to stay consistent with how we define ourselves. Tony Robbins. If you say things like, "I'm not good with money," or "I've never been a leader," guess what? You'll act accordingly. But the reverse is also true. When you shift your identity from employee to creator, from follower to leader, from survivor to builder, everything changes. I remember when I first called myself an entrepreneur, it felt strange, like I was pretending, but I kept saying it, to friends, to myself. Eventually I believed it, and that belief shaped my behavior. Try this. Write down your future identity in present tense. I am a purpose-driven entrepreneur. I solve meaningful problems. I build value. Repeat it daily. Let it sink in. Soon, your actions will align. Fail forward. Every great entrepreneur has one thing in common. They failed. The difference? They didn't stop. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's the path to it. I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Thomas Edison. When we fail, we learn. When we learn, we grow. When we grow, we get closer to the breakthrough. Let me tell you about Melissa, an e-commerce entrepreneur. Her first product flopped. Her second one barely broke even. Her third product? A custom-designed journal for moms. It went viral. Within a year, she scaled to 6 figures. She told me, "If I didn't fail twice, I never would have created something people actually needed." The key is this: detach your identity from your outcomes. Failing doesn't mean you're a failure, it means you're in the arena. The average person avoids risk. The entrepreneur manages it. They ask, what's the worst-case scenario, and is it survivable? Most of the time it is, so they take the leap. Each failure is feedback, a guide, a redirection, not a rejection. You must fall in love with the process, not just the prize. Because the process is what forges greatness. Consistency over intensity. If motivation is the spark, consistency is the fuel. Everyone gets fired up in the beginning. New goals, big dreams, vision boards, podcasts and planners. But what happens when the excitement fades? That's where most people quit, not because they lack potential, but because they lack a system. Intensity is sexy, it's the all-nighter, the hustle-hard weekend, the 30-day sprint. But success? That's built in the boring days, the quiet mornings, the small actions, repeated endlessly. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act but a habit. Aristotle. Entrepreneurs who win aren't always the smartest, they're the most consistent. They show up on the days they don't feel like it. They create when no one's watching. They post when no one's engaging. They sell when no one's buying. Success isn't built in a weekend. It's built in the everyday. Let me give you a simple formula. Commit to one thing daily. Write 200 words. Reach out to 2 potential clients. Post 1 piece of content. Learn something new for 30 minutes. Small hinges swing big doors. Consistency compounds. Build before you're ready. One of the biggest traps we fall into is waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect idea, the perfect plan, the perfect skill set. Spoiler alert, it doesn't exist. If you wait to feel ready, you'll be waiting forever. Some of the most iconic entrepreneurs didn't have it all figured out when they started. They built while they were learning. Take Steve Jobs. When he and Steve Wozniak started Apple in a garage, they didn't have a polished business plan. They had a vision and the guts to start building. Or Oprah Winfrey, who who faced countless rejections before becoming a media powerhouse. The lesson? Action breeds clarity. You don't get ready by waiting, you get ready by doing. I remember when I launched my first project, terrified, unsure if anyone would care. But I chose to act anyway. The feedback I got shaped the next steps. If I'd waited for perfect confidence, I'd never have started. So here's your challenge. Start now. Start messy. Start small. Don't let fear or doubt keep you stuck. Build while you grow. Learn by doing. Create a vision statement. Write it down. Print it. Read it daily. The entrepreneur's environment. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This isn't just a cliche, it's a scientific fact. Your environment shapes your habits, your mindset, your energy. If you're surrounded by negativity, doubt, and complacency, it's nearly impossible to grow. But surround yourself with visionaries, doers, and believers, and your world changes. I used to think I could do it all alone. Then I realized the power of community. Joining a mastermind group, finding mentors, connecting with like-minded entrepreneurs, that changed everything. It gave me accountability, fresh ideas, and emotional support on tough days. If you want to move from average to extraordinary, curate your environment intentionally. Seek out mentors who inspire you. Join communities that challenge and support you. Distance yourself from toxic influences. Fill your space with reminders of your goals and dreams. Your environment is your invisible infrastructure. Build it wisely. Embrace the long game. One of the hardest lessons for any entrepreneur is patience. In a world obsessed with instant results and viral moments, the truth is simple. Success is a marathon, not a sprint. Almost every extraordinary success story is built on years of consistent effort, setbacks, and quiet perseverance. Think about J.K. Rowling. Before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon, she faced multiple rejections. She was a single mother struggling to make ends meet, writing in cafes while her daughter napped. Or Colonel Sanders, who didn't franchise KFC until his 60s. These stories aren't exceptions, they're proof that the long game wins. When you embrace the long game, you stop chasing quick fixes and start building real foundations. You develop resilience, you stay committed through seasons of doubt. Remember, growth isn't always visible day to day, but it's happening beneath the surface. Purpose over profit. Money is important, but it's not the core of entrepreneurship. True entrepreneurs are driven by purpose, a deep why that fuels every action. When purpose leads, profit follows. Look at Elon Musk. Beyond wealth, he's driven by a vision to change humanity's future. Or Malala Yousafzai, whose advocacy transforms lives. Her work transcends financial gain. Finding your purpose transforms your work into a calling. It gives you meaning beyond balance sheets and bank accounts. It's what gets you up at 4 a.m. when motivation fades. Ask yourself, why do I want this? What difference do I want to make? Your purpose is your North Star. Let it guide your decisions and inspire your journey. From average to extraordinary, your journey starts now. The path from average to extraordinary isn't easy. It's filled with doubts, failures, and hard work. But it's also filled with growth, breakthroughs, and freedom. You've heard the stories, you've seen the mindset shifts. Now it's time for your story. You don't have to wait for permission. You don't need the perfect plan. You only need to start. The entrepreneur's mindset is about action, resilience, purpose, and belief. You are capable of more than you know. This moment, right now, is your fork in the road. Will you stay comfortable, or will you rise? Remember the words of Theodore Roosevelt. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena. So get in the arena. Build before you're ready. Fail forward. Surround yourself with greatness. Play the long game. Lead with purpose. because the world needs the extraordinary version of you. Are you ready?